All right, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. As we discussed already, we are SmartRoom, and our goal for today is to tell you a little bit about who we are, and then actually get into the demonstration of our platform. So first things first, just wanted to give you a quick overview of who we are, where we've come from, and sort of what we're about. So SmartRoom has been an industry leader in the virtual data room space for 15 years now. We're not some fly-by-night data room provider. We have been one of the top players in this industry since almost the beginning of virtual data rooms. And in that time, we have a significant amount of experience. We've worked on over 10,000 projects, the vast majority of those being what we would call strategic events, high-level transactions like mergers and acquisitions, IPOs, different types of fundraisers, sales of asset-backed securities, working across a wide range of products, mostly having to do with financial strategic events. And in that time, we've worked with over 5 million users, again, across all different facets of business, whether they be corporations, private equity funds, investors, investment banks. And we've also worked with over 20,000 companies. And this has occurred over 50 countries. The key takeaway that I want you to have here is that we have the experience, we've been a top player in this industry for a long time, and we have developed a great set of best practices and best-in-breed technology and service over that time period. We've worked with some of the best and the brightest in the industry, and as you can see here, we're trusted by some of the top names in global business. As you can see here, some of the brand names I'm sure you recognize: Coca-Cola, General Electric, UPS, Johnson & Johnson. So to give you some specific examples, we're the exclusive provider for the corporate development departments for AIG and Johnson & Johnson. If you're a sports fan, we hosted the sale of the Los Angeles Dodgers, also managed the IPO of Manchester United. If you ever saw the movie The Big Short, then you know that there was a significant amount of activity around non-performing home loans. We actually are the premier player in that space, and we hosted over $400 billion of NPL, what we call non-performing home loan sales, for HSBC. And we also have managed and are currently managing hundreds of millions of dollars of divestitures for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae in the same space, as well as Santander and other financial institutions. Recently, we hosted the sale of dictionary.com. So as you can see, a lot of well-known brands and some of the top organizations throughout the world that put their trust in us. And as I'm sure you know, these top organizations don't just select data room providers on the fly. They go through a lot of diligence. We have to go through rigorous evaluation process, and then to be selected says a lot about our experience, our service, and our product. So as you can see, trusted by some of the absolute best in the world. Before we get into our actual demonstration, I just want to comment a little bit on technology and data rooms in general. So over the last just under a decade, let's say, business technology expectations have been reset because some of the top technology companies in the world have done a fantastic job of resetting those expectations. If you look at the Salesforces of the world, the HubSpots, the Googles, they have changed the way that people view technology. These applications are collaborative. Their user experience is exceptional. They have great speed, reliability. Some of their greatest power is in their simplicity. They've really changed the way that users interacted with technology. And we started to see that in our own space. When we look at virtual data rooms, we did a lot of market research, and we interviewed our own customers, and we looked at our competitors, and we interviewed customers of those competitors. And what we learned a couple years back was that data rooms had sort of become outdated. They were a little bit clunky. Their user experience was not what you were seeing out there in other business technologies or even personal technologies that people are using on a daily basis, things like Instagram, Facebook. And what that did was it created the perception that data rooms had become commoditized. And we looked at it and we took an objective stance on it. And we essentially said, you know what, they're right. That is where we are as a market. And it certainly by no means was a SmartRoom thing. We looked across the industry and there was really no one differentiating themselves. The data room technologies that were developed and started in the late 90s and early 2000s were the same data room technologies that were still being used in 2015, 2016. And so what we did was we decided that we were going to completely re-architect our platform. We wanted to be a leader in the technology space, similar to the Salesforce, the HubSpots, and the Googles of the world. And in the data room market specifically, we wanted to be the innovation leader. We didn't want to just slap on new features, functions, or even just a new UI skin. We wanted to completely re-architect the platform from the ground up so that we could use the latest technology stack, the latest UI designs, and create a better user experience for you, the SmartRoom manager, and also your end users. So that when you're in all of these different technologies every day, whether it be technologies for business like those that you see here, or even technologies that you use for personal like the Instagrams, the Facebooks of the world, that when you go to a virtual data room, you don't feel like you're taking a step back technology-wise. And that was our goal, and that's what I'm going to show you today when we go through the demonstration of what we call SmartRoom NextGen. SmartRoom NextGen, we spent 2 years developing it, again, building it from the ground up on the latest technology stack. And we betaed it in 2017 and then rolled it out officially in January of 2018. So we now have a year under our belt of deploying our new platform to all of our customers. 100% of our customers that sign up with SmartRoom now are rolled out on the next generation platform, and for very good reason, which I think you'll see in the demonstration. One of the things that I want to point out as well is that while we were going through this evaluation and we were building this new platform, we really wanted to take a step back and think about what matters to you, the manager, right? We wanted to know what is going to impact your life. We're not under any illusion that we're going to come in and impact the valuation of your M&A deal. That's not our goal. We're not going to try to spin that to you and provide that type of high level, out of this world thinking. That's not our goal. My goal is to speak directly to you as the manager and help you in ways that can actually impact your day-to-day life. And to do that, we did a lot of research, as I said, with customers, and we wanted to know what is it that you care about when you think of a data room, right? Because again, the goal is not, hey, we're going to add an extra turn on EBITDA for your M&A process, right? We know that's not going to happen. You, the manager, how can we impact you on a day-to-day basis? And what we learned is that these are the things you care about: speed and time saved. When you're running an M&A process, you have to use a data room, right? Whether I'm here talking to you today or it's someone else, you're going to use a data room. So while you're using that data room, and you're probably for several weeks spending significant time in it, I want to provide you the best experience possible. And part of that experience is reducing the amount of time that you have to actually spend managing a data room. So we want to save you time. We want to create speed for you. The same way you use keystroke shortcuts to shave seconds off at a time, which then add up to minutes and could add up to hours and maybe get you out of the office an hour early, that's what we want to do for you. You also want it to be reliable. We often hear the phrase, look, I need it to work. You're running an M&A process. Time is sensitive. You can't have something go wrong. So we made sure to build a platform that is going to be technologically reliable and then back it up with a service so that you always have someone to speak to if you ever have questions. Third is security, right? You want to make sure that the wrong information never gets in the wrong hands. So we made sure to optimize that and put the absolute best security in the market. And then cost. You care about cost. Your customer, if you're an investment banker, cares about cost. So we're going to do it at an efficient price. Now, I call these game changers. So when I go through this demonstration, I'm going to actually point out the specific areas of the data room that we built to speak to these differentiators, if you will, how we're going to create speed and save time for you, how we're going to be more reliable, create better security, and reduce your costs. Because again, this is what you, the individual, cares about. This is how I'm going to make your life better. So as we're going through this demo, I'm going to point out the specific areas where this applies. So let's jump into the actual demonstration. So I'm going to go to my room here. So the first thing you're going to see is our interactive dashboard. Now again, what you see here is the latest technology stack. It's the latest UI design. And as you can see, it just looks significantly better than what you're probably used to in other data room providers or data rooms that you might have used a year ago, 2 years ago. It's not only the technology that layers underneath. It's the actual interface that you interact with on a daily basis. Because whether you like it or not, if you're running an M&A process, when buyers come into the data room, that's going to be reflective of you. They're going to look at you, the investment banker, as the one who chose this data room, so this reflects back on you. So that's why we believe absolute best to have a great UI design, something that looks modern, has that 2019 worthy look and feel, and gives it that just nice, professional, clean, crisp look and feel. And that's what we believe we've done here today. And part of that, as I was saying, was the interactive dashboard. So as you can see here, we provide a snapshot of exactly what's happening in your room. So the moment you log in, you can see key statistics that are important and relevant to your M&A process. First thing I'll look at here is top security profile logins. Now, one of the key pieces I want to point out that, again, this is interactive, meaning I can interact with the data and I can take action on that data from almost anywhere on the screen. So I see top security profile logins and I get a nice shot of what's happening. But more than that, I could actually drill down to the data. I can drill down to exactly what profiles, how often they're logging in. I could quickly filter by who's logging in the least, who's logging in the most. I could then drill down to the actual individuals within that. If I look back here and I want to filter by a specific time range, so let's say that I want to look back in the last 30 days, I can see here that 2 individuals from Acme Company have logged in. They've logged in once each. I can see exactly who that is, when they logged in. So I'm really able to drill down into that data. Again, not just getting a static snapshot. Same thing if I look over here with most recent logins. So I'm going to click on this individual's name. Now, another great piece of the SmartRoom Next Generation platform is that we have limited the amount of clicks. In typical data rooms, you're going to have to click around to so many different places and you're going to move that mouse around to a great extent. What we really wanted to do was limit the amount of clicks. So as you can see here, for this individual user, we've consolidated almost every action you would need to take with this individual right in here. I could change the company they're affiliated with. I can go and edit their security profile directly from here. I can view activity reports to see exactly what this user is doing, what they printed, what they saved, how long did they look at documents, anything of that nature. I can resend their invite. I can even remove them as a user. So again, you can see I'm consolidating everything into one screen. Same thing with documents. I see here most recent uploads. Well, if I click on this little icon, again, I can take every single action I would ever need around a document directly from this one page. I can change the security rights of the document. I can view activity around it, who's looking at it, how long they looked at it, did they print it, save it, etc. I can upload new versions, create shareable links, print it, save it, create alerts around it, remove the file. Anything that I need to do, I can do directly from here. And as you can see, I'm not hopping around to different screens. Another great feature here is what we call the single page application. So what that means is that you can work efficiently by navigating around to different pages. So as you can see here, if I want to take action on the user profile of Tony Bell, who's from Acme Company, I can do that and then quickly hop over here to my document of leadership history and take any action necessary on there. I can also minimize those and dock those, and they'll pull up over here and then recall them at any time or just simply delete them out. So again, really creates a much better, a much more efficient process for you managing the M&A process. And again, that all comes down to the speed. We want you to get in and out of this room as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, and as securely as possible. So let's jump into the content here. So this is where you're going to spend the majority of your time. The way I'm going to run through the rest of this demonstration is the way that most of our users use an actual data room. So you're going to upload information. You're going to manage the information, whether that means moving documents around, uploading new documents here and there, deleting documents, creating alerts around it, whatever that is. Then you're going to get into creating security profiles so that you can control what people can do and what they can't do. Then we'll actually invite users in. And once those users are in, we're going to want to run reports to understand exactly what they're doing, what they're looking at, where they're spending their time. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to show you document uploading. So a couple different ways to do this. The first one, the easy one that I want to point out is simple drag and drop. So I'm going to go over here to my files. I'm going to grab a couple documents. And in this case, it's just 3 financial statements. I'm going to pull those over and I'm going to drag them in. Now, a couple things I want to highlight here. One, You can alter security upon upload. Naturally, it's going to inherit the rights. So if you've already set up, it's going to be, let's say, view and print for this folder. That's what they'll inherit. However, you can change that on the fly. So if this was a particularly sensitive document, you want it to just be absolutely sure no one could see it, you can wall that off right here. For now, we're just going to inherit. Now, what you're going to see here is our upload speed. A couple things I want to point out about this. One, as you can see, that was just a few files, but the upload speed is exceptionally fast. We even put a timer in here. So as you can see, that took 2 seconds. Now, you're not going to put a timer in your data room unless you're absolutely sure that the speed is going to be exceptional. Sort of a put your money where your mouth is type of test. Secondly, we also have a new tool called a zip uploader. Now, a zip uploader, where that comes in handy is when you're uploading a significant amount of data. So let's say at the beginning that you're managing your process and you're uploading your entire data room at one time. Let's say it's a gigabyte of data. For you, those of you in the banking world, you might recognize that as 15,000 pages. Now, you probably know from uploading data rooms in the past that that could take a significant amount of time. Well, what we've developed is what's called a zip uploader. What that does is it allows you to zip all of your files into one single folder and then upload it as one single folder. Our upload speeds, on average, for a gigabyte of data, that's 15,000 pages. So think of it as your entire data room index for an M&A process. The upload speed for that entire data room index is on average 4 minutes. Now, pause the actual video here for a second. For those of you SmartRoom sales folks, the ideal here is we're going to have a video that we can show at that time and say, here you go, I'm going to upload. Here, I'm going to show you this video that we recorded. You're going to see the beginning of the process, and then 4 minutes later, I'm going to come back to it, and you'll see that it's done. All right, back to the actual demo, though. So, again, that is what I call one of those game changers. What do you care about? You care about speed. You care about time saved. And if I can reduce your upload time from 20 minutes to 4 minutes, that's 16 minutes I'm saving you. And again, that adds up. That's huge. Next time you have to upload massive files or even the entire data room in one shot, or maybe you're uploading a few different folders and it's just 700 megs, we're going to save you time and it's going to be much, much quicker. You're not going to have to sit there anymore and stare at an upload screen or a wheel of death that keeps spinning and spinning for 45 minutes. We are going to reduce the amount of time you spend. That's one of those game changers I was talking about. All the data room providers are going to come out there and they're going to tell you, we're the fastest, we're the fastest. Well, we're actually proving it. Again, from the video that I show you here, you can see that we're doing it in 4 minutes. And that is significantly faster than anyone else is going to be able to do. Now, what I want to show you here, this is what I believe is one of, if not our biggest game changer, and it's going to change the way that you manage data rooms. We have an application called SmartDrive. What that is a direct sync with your desktop that allows you to manage your data room directly from your Windows desktop. Now, other data room providers, they have outside applications that you are going to download, and they're basically going to be like a smaller version of a website. We've gone beyond that. What we're allowing you to do, as you can see right here, is operate directly from your Windows desktop, the same Windows that you work in on a daily basis for all your folders, all your files. It's the exact same that you're working on here. This isn't some new application. This isn't some outside application. This is literally your Windows desktop. So for you, what does that mean? That means you can use all the keystroke shortcuts that you use on a daily basis. If you want to add files, you can Control-C and Control-V them into here. If you want to delete them, Control-X. You can use all those keystroke shortcuts and you can manage everything from here. As you can see, my Windows desktop, I have these 11 folders. It matches the same 11 folders that I have in here. If I go into the actual documents, I'm going to go into financial information. There's those 3 documents that I just uploaded. As you can see, they're already in there. Now, let's go into show you how this actually applies to you and how you can use the actual application. So we're going to go in, and let's say we open those files that we just uploaded, and we're going to go in and we're going to open it. And this is one of the biggest things. It is going to open in native Excel. This isn't Office Online with limited functionality. This is literally the same Excel you use every day. So everything that you do is going to work here. All of your keystroke shortcuts. So if I go in here and let's say that my boss my associate, my VP, comes and says, hey, we need to adjust the LTM number. So I'm going to go in here and say, okay, cash flow from operating activities is actually $100 million. Oh, 10, add one more zero. So we're going to go ahead and change that. As you can see, everything changed in the model. I'm just going to kick Control S. Again, so all I'm doing is saving it. It's going to save just like you do in Excel. I go hit Control S, I save it. That's going to be syncing. Let's go back to my room. I'm going to go to that folder, go to that file, and remember that LTM column that we changed. That is now going to reflect $10 million. Let's open it up in Excel Online because I didn't have the print capability on. You know what? Let's go change. This is another good example. We'll just use it as a good example. We'll open up the cash flow statement. We're going to change the print area because this often happens when you have Excel files. So we're going to go in here. Use this. I am going to say, let's look at it here. I'm going to change the printable view. I'm going to hit save. Now again, if you ever used Excel models and saved them to data rooms, I'm sure that you've actually come across this issue where you don't set the print area right. So when it shows in the secured viewer of a data room, people aren't going to see it as they want to see it. So this is another way. It's a great example to show you how quickly we can alter that. So now we're going to go into the cash flow statement. And as you can see, that print area is reset. Not only that, but there's my $100 million changed. I did not have to go outside of my room, edit an Excel document, drag and drop it over into a data room. I did it directly from my Windows and it updated instantaneously. That's a huge time savings for you. Think about how often you have to update LTM analysis or different financial models or Word docs or PowerPoint docs. Well, in the old way of doing things and the way you have to do it with other data room providers, you got to go outside of this room. You got to go find that file. You got to edit that file. You got to drag and drop it over into the data room. You might have to even take down the old version. As you can see here, it's significantly quicker. The only thing you do is go into your SmartDrive, which again is your Windows. You update the document, you hit save, boom, it's done. On top of that, now let's go and we're actually going to look at a report. So we're going to go in here and, wrong click. We're going to view activity around this document. As you can see here, let's change this. We want to look at all the activity that just happened today. Let's do since last login, that'll work the same. So we're going to go ahead and apply that. Now, what you can see is that there's a new version of this document created. So when you make a change to it, it'll be highlighted as a new version. You can even set up alerts around that where your users will get notified that a new version is available. So if your document is LTM working capital analysis and you go ahead and add the latest month, your users will get a notification that there has been a new version and they'll know that they can go in there and get the latest LTM analysis. Again, just creating more efficiency, more speed for you. You could even see that I then viewed that document, right? Because I uploaded it, I went and changed it and edited it, and then I went and actually viewed it. So all that's happening instantaneously. Now, let me show you a couple other great ways to use SmartDrive. Let's say, now this is my regular Windows. I'm not in SmartDrive right now. I'm going to go to a forecasted income statement. So I'm going to go in here, and this is not in the data room yet, okay? This is just an Excel file I'm using. My associate comes to me and says, hey, we need to update the financial numbers, and we need to go upload it into the room. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and change my growth stats, 35, 40, we're going to grow like a weed. Now, instead of me saving this, then going and dragging and dropping it into the room, I'm just going to hit Save As. So I'm going to hit Save As. I'm going to save it in SmartDrive, and it's going to pull up all the different data rooms that I have. Now you're going to see here that I have a lot because I'm constantly demoing with different rooms. But we're going to go in here, and we're going to get to the actual room that I'm using for today's demo purposes. And you're going to see the same file system. So here it is. We're going to open that up. Let's go save it in financial information, forecasted income statement. I'm gonna hit save. Oop, it's already in there. Let's save it into a different, I've done this demo before. Save it into a different folder. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that. Now, let's go to SmartDrive. We are going to go in. It's right there. There it is in my SmartDrive folder. Now let's go to our room. There's the document right there. All I did was hit save as. Again, using other data rooms, you're going to have to drag and drop that over. You're going to have to upload it. It's going to take you more time. By doing it like this, you're just operating from Windows. That's all you're doing. You're constantly just operating from Windows, and everything is reflecting over here in the room. It's saving you significant time. If you want to go ahead and upload documents, you could do that as well. So let's say I wanted to also add these documents over here. So we already uploaded some of these. Let's go grab a couple different ones. Let's grab this, drag it over. And we can just drag it over from one window to the next. And that's going to update. It's instantly going to add those documents. And again, we go back to the actual room. There they are, instantaneously. Now guys, this is a huge game changer for you. This is going to save you significant time. And again, that's what it comes down to for you all. I know that you care about the time. I know you care about the speed. There's no better way out there in the data room market to do this than operating through SmartDrive. This is how you save significant time. Right? Again, you saw I basically operated everything directly from my Windows system. So that, if there's one main feature function that you walk away with today, I want it to be that one. That instead of you operating in this SmartRoom, which is a great application, it's a great user interface, if you want to operate from a system that you're used to and you want to operate from your Windows, then by all means you can do that. That's how we've set it up. That's how we've built it. So you can do everything from here. All right. Let's talk about a couple other features, functions that we have here. Creating alerts. So I can create alerts on any document, any folder, any subfolder. So let's say I wanted everyone to be notified every time something was uploaded. So I'm going to go ahead and create an alert. A couple different alerts we have. Most popular are what we call standing alerts. They're automated. So if you want to notify people every time a document's been uploaded, let's say, you can set that. You can set the timing of it. You can do it immediately, hourly, daily. We recommend daily. That way you're not flooding people's inboxes, and you can even select the time. So you as a banker, I always like to say, if you're an analyst associate, your VP or director says go make the changes to the data room. Well, you finish at 5 p.m. That gives them a lot of time to do a review, come back to you, give you comments at 10 p.m. Now you're sitting in the office till 2 a.m. I recommend perhaps you don't send it to him until 11 p.m. so he doesn't get the notifications until then, and then he doesn't update it or review it till the next day. Just a little trick of the trade for you all bankers. You can obviously select who that goes to. If people do not have security rights to those documents, those folders, of course they're not going to get an alert. You can select by individual users, or you can even select by security profiles. So very easy to set up. The other way to do it is you can create instant alerts. Those are customized messages. So you can go and write a customized message, essentially tag it to the document. They'll get an email in their inbox alerting them that a new document has been uploaded, or whatever other comment you want to make on it. All right. We also have what is called shareable links. So this is a great use case, and again, what I call, let's say, a game changer for time savings. Let's say a great example of how people use this. Your MD comes to you and says, hey, I need to see this document from the data room. Well, if you're already in the data room, what you can do is just create a simple smart share. And what you can do with that, what this does, SmartRoom Demo 2019. So I'm just going to send it to the email address. I can put a password on it if I like. I can write a message, say please review. I can even expire it. I can expire the link. I can expire the document itself, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. And I can create a shareable link. What that's going to do is it's going to provide the document to the end user, and it's going to provide it in a way that they can access it without actually having to log into the room itself. So as you can see here, my document's ready. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And your VP or director, whoever it was that asked for the document, they can now access that document without having to log into the room. And there it is for them. So We have security features on it in the sense that we can expire the actual link, we can expire the document, and we can actually track the IP address. So it's another great way to communicate with your end users. Again, speed, time, efficiency, reliability. This is what we're providing. So let's go back here. Now, a couple other just features, functions you're probably used to. If you want to use versions, we have different versions. There's probably no versions on this, but you can see if there's different file versions. There's just the one here. But if you're going to be constantly replacing, you can do different versions of the documents. Print queue, save queue. This is huge for your end users. A lot of times they're going to want, and you might provide the ability for them to print all the documents or save all the documents. They can do that in a bulk fashion. All right, they don't have to do it individually. It's going to save them time. Now, security. As it relates exactly to this, if you give your users the right to save documents, the historical way of using data rooms, that's great for your potential buyers because it just makes life a little easier on them because they like to download the documents and do whatever they want with them. Defeats a lot of the purpose of using a data room for you all because you lose the visibility into what they're doing. You can't report on what they're looking at, how often they're looking at it, where they're spending their time in due diligence. But with SmartRoom, now you can. And this is a huge security differentiator. This is huge, one of those game changers that the other providers out there are not leveraging today. We have a feature called Smart Lock. Now what that does is it layers the encryption in the document. What does that mean for you? Two important things. One, even after they've downloaded the data, you can still have visibility into what they're doing with it. So if they download the entire data room index, you will now be able to see what they're looking at, when they looked at it, how long did they look at it, how many times did they click on it, basically giving you insight into where they're spending their time doing due diligence. That's huge for you because I know that going through so many of these processes over the years that your MDs are typically going to come to you and say, I want to know the information that's happening in the room. I want to run a report. Who's logging in? Who's looking at what? So that way they can anticipate who's actually serious about their due diligence, and they can also anticipate where these people are spending their time in due diligence and thus where the questions are going to come from. This now allows you to do that even after people have downloaded data. And on top of that, the second primary goal of this is we take security beyond the smart room. You can remotely detonate those downloaded documents at any given time. Whether they're on their desktop or in their window somewhere, wherever they reside, you can remotely detonate the access to those documents. That means that they'll have a shell of that document, but they'll no longer be able to open it and access it. This is a huge game changer for the way M&A processes are run. I know personally from having worked in private equity that whenever you get access to due diligence, you're constantly sent this letter that says you must purge all data. Well, I can tell you from my own personal experience and just experience of talking to thousands of different professionals in this industry over the years, the majority of the time that doesn't happen. That data is not purged. Now think about it, if you are the owner of that, let's say it's a mid-market business, $250 million business, you and your family built it over the last 2 generations, you're now possibly going through a sales process, you're releasing very key, very sensitive information out there. Everyone gets access to that data, they download it, and then they're supposed to purge it, but they don't, they keep it. That is a very scary situation. Those people can use that information against you. Let's say an interested buyer doesn't actually acquire the company you're selling, but they do acquire a competitor of that company 2 years later. If they have all that information, they can use that. And as you're the owner of that business, that's very, very scary. So what we can now do is remotely detonate that data, and now we can guarantee that it's purged. We don't have to rely on them to purge that data anymore. You yourself can purge that data. And that's a huge advantage that you can speak to your client about. When you're telling them which smart data room to provide, you can tell them SmartRoom because SmartRoom is the most secure, because SmartRoom guarantees that all your data is purged at the end of a deal. And that's a huge advantage for you all. That allows you to go back to your client and give them peace of mind. As you're out there talking to them about how you're the best bank in the world and why they should be giving you their business or why they should be trusting you, that's a big deal to them because they've built this business over the last 2 generations. And that's something that would be really relevant to them and really important to them. For those of you on SmartRoom, I've got a little wordy on this, but you see where I'm going with it. Anyway, back to the demo. All right. Last thing I want to show you in terms of managing your index. This is a new feature that we have, and again, this is what we call a game changer. Email to SmartRoom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to email myself a couple different documents. I'm going to call it test. Let's call it financial docs. Now, use case. Think of it like this. You're working with your client. Let's say you're working with the CFO. The CFO is going to send you documents throughout the process. Upload this, upload that. Here's the new LTM or new information, whatever it is. He's going to upload a couple different or he's going to constantly be emailing you. So pretend that I'm the CFO. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to email that. And I'm going to email it over to my work email address. I'm going to pop open that work email because I had it closed for the purposes of this demo. We'll pop that open here. Give it a second. Here's the docs. Now, huge time saver. What I can simply do is go ahead and forward that. For those of you on the demo, I just forgot very briefly the actual alias that I need to send that to. So go to my settings, configuration, email configuration. So I just need to go through, get this email address. There it is, smart. Let's use that. Boom. All right. Back to the actual demo. All right. So now, I'm the banker. I'm you. I got these documents from my CFO. I am now going to go ahead and I'm just going to forward them directly to the SmartRoom. And you're going to see these documents now appear in the SmartRoom. So I'm going to go ahead and send it. We're going to go in. I preset through configurations. I preset where those documents are actually going to go. And as you can see, there they are. I have the two documents and I even have the email itself. So here's the actual email and here's the documents. Now, think about this. The way you would do that with a typical data room, you're going to have to get that email. You're going to get these documents. You're going to have to go copy them and paste them somewhere or actually open them up and then hit save as. You're going to have to download them. Then you got to go open up your SmartRoom. Or not SmartRoom, but let's just say a generic data room. You have to open up that generic data room. You got to drag those documents over and drop them in there. Cumbersome, long process. With ours, you simply forward it. You set ahead of time where those documents go. I set this folder up called Financial Docs from Client CFO. Those documents are ready to go. Let's say I decide I need those somewhere specific. Let's say I wanted it in forecasts. I just drag it over here. Oh, I think I dragged to the wrong spot. I drag it over here. Boom. It's in there. Everything is done instantaneously. That's going to save you huge time. Think about how many times are you being emailed documents by clients or maybe your VP or associate saying, put this in the room, put this in the room. Well, if you have to go and download that, open up a data room, drag and drop and upload it every time, that's a 3-4 step process. With ours, you just hit forward and it's in there, it's done, boom. It's so much quicker, it's gonna save you a significant amount of time. So again, game changer, what's gonna happen for you? How's it gonna impact you? Why does this matter to you, right? Again, I'm not telling you that I'm going to increase the valuation of your M&A deal, but I am telling you I'm going to save you a significant amount of time. And you're already going to be using a data room. You have to use the data room no matter what when you run an M&A process. So you might as well use that time to use the best data room and cut down some of that time. That's why you use SmartRoom. All right, let's move forward. Let's get into security. We've uploaded our documents. We've managed those documents. We now want to invite users, but before we do that, We want to set security profiles because we want to control exactly what these users can do and what they can't do. So let's go ahead and create a new security profile. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to call this, let's say, buyer group A. All right. I'm going to go ahead and create this. And then I'm actually going to, now, a couple different ways, setting security, a couple different methods, I should say. One, we can get as granular as you need in security rights. It's not just a user or a manager. We can distribute security rights on an a la carte basis. What does that mean? So, for example, let's say you're working with someone. Again, we can kind of relate this to a CFO. CFO of the company you're working with, they want to upload documents directly to the room, right? We already showed you if they email it to you, how easy that is. Let's say they want to upload directly to the room. Great, but you don't want too many cooks in your kitchen. You don't want to give them all the power in the world. So you can give them the ability to upload and upload only. They can't delete anything. They can't rename any documents. They can't move it. Only thing they can do is upload. So it allows them to drag and drop into the room. You get the documents you need to put them wherever you need, do the work you need, and you don't have to worry about too many cooks in your kitchen, them messing something up or diving in and having prying eyes. So that's very helpful for you. Again, it's going to allow you to manage your process better. So let's save that. Let's go to the actual security here. So what we have here is our entire index on the left, all the way down to the document level. So if I go in here, I could actually get all the way down to the documents. Let me just close my email out here. All right. All right, so we've set up security in a very simple way. Now, for those of you, for training purposes, you're not going to want to have staging on here. I forgot to turn it off, but you're not going to want that on there. It creates too much confusion. There's too many things happening. So we've created security in a very simple way. It's a color-coded process. And we have 4 letters, VSPM. View, save, print, and modify. View, save, and print, pretty self-explanatory. Modify comes into play with what we just spoke about. So if you wanted to give someone the ability to upload and upload only to a specific folder, or maybe even edit a document, you would just provide modify rights. So for these purposes, what I'm going to do is grant view, save, print rights. As you can see, it's a waterfall. So the moment you change top level folder, everything's going to trickle down. Now, if I want to go adjust specific things, let's say I want to go in here and say, I just don't want them to see this particular folder or file. Or I go down here and say, you know what, this strategic buyer, I don't want them to see financial information yet. They haven't earned that right. So I'm going to quickly wall that off. Same thing with, let's just say taxes. Don't want them to have the ability to view, save, and print it. And for real estate, I want them to be able to view it, but not save and print it. So as you can see, I can very quickly set security all the way down to that document level. Very, very simple to do. And it's a fail-safe system because, again, it's color-coded. It's not hard to mess, or it's not something you're going to mess up. It's very simple to apply. We're going to go ahead and hit save. Now, another great and game-changing feature I want to show you that so many of our investment banking customers love is I'm going to go through, I'm going to close this out. Now, we just created that security profile, buyer group A. Now, this is the index as I see it. Right? I'm the manager. I see everything in here. I see all the folders. I see all the files. But when you're creating security profiles, we know that you're granting different security rights to different players. You're definitely going to create different security rights for strategic buyers versus financial buyers. And then those security rights are probably going to change as the process goes on. So what that does is that can create a lot of confusion as you're running this process because everything's based on the numbers in the room. And folder 7.1 to you might be folder 5.1 to someone else and folder 4.1 to another person just because you set security in different ways. Now, if you want gap numbering, we can do that. But 80% of our clients prefer to have seamless numbering so that no one knows they're missing information. So instead of it saying 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, it's going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're never going to know that they've been denied access to something. So, excuse me. So a great tool that we have here at SmartRoom is we can view the index from any end user's point of view. So again, here's me, the manager. I see all 11 folders and files. But if I want to go and view this index as if I'm buyer group A, I can view that index exactly as them. Two great use cases of why this is applicable. One, they call you on the phone. They want to ask a question about the data room. They say, hey, I want to ask you about 4.1.2. Well, they're going to have different rights than you. So if you just have your regular SmartRoom view, you might not be on the same page as them, and that's going to create confusion. So if they call you on the phone, you simply click here, drop down, buyer group A. Great, I'm seeing the room exactly as you see it. I'm on the same exact page as you. Let's talk about it. Huge time savings, great efficiency, just makes you look a little bit better. You're not confused about the numbers, things like that. Secondly, is people like to use this as their security blanket. I know that you all are running very tight, very secure processes, and there's information that certain people can't see. So you want to be absolutely sure that you go and you set your security rights. Easy enough, as we showed you. However, if you want a second layer of protection, called that insurance blanket, you want to make sure, right? Buyer group A is a strategic buyer. They're our client's biggest competitor. I need to be absolutely sure that they can't see my financial docs. So I'm going to go view the index as buyer group A, and I'm going to see exactly what they see. And as you can see here, I blocked out the financial docs that are normally in folder number 3. They can't see it. Not only that, but I have full visibility into what their security rights are. So I can see that they can view, save, and print these docs, but in real estate, they can only view it. So again, allows me to just be absolutely sure that they can only see what they're supposed to see and not have access to anything different. So again, just a great tool for you all, really going to help you do your job more efficiently and just more quickly, and just be absolutely sure. So that when it comes time for bonus season, no one's bringing up an issue that, hey, remember when you let that wrong file get into the wrong hands and it really impacted our process? Not going to happen because the way that we provide it for you. All right. Let's get into inviting users. So inviting users, very simple. 2 ways to do it. One, if you're doing it on a one-off basis, let's say you're doing just one user, handful of users, you can just do it here. You just drop in a few pieces of information, which I'll go through in a second. Now, if you want to upload users in bulk, we operate from Excel. We have a simple sample user list. You just go in here. If you have a working group list that you're using, you can just copy and paste. You can invite 5, 50, 500, however many users you want. Just drop all this information in, re-upload it to the room. It'll happen in bulk. If you're doing it here on a one-off basis, let's just go through. I might have already done this, but let's see here. For those of you SmartRoom, for the purposes of this, not sure why that happened. I'll send that to Dev. It shouldn't just populate with my email address 20 times over. All right, we're going to put this person into buyer group A. Here's the actual invite that goes out. A couple great things here. One, you can have the email come from anyone you want. You can have it come from generic_alert@smartroom.com. You can have it come from your individual email address. If you want to create an email alias, right? So let's say you're running Project Falcon and you want to create an alias at your organization where there's 5 different people that will get Project Falcon at jpmorgan.com email addresses. You can set it up coming from that, however you want. Subject, you can customize the subject line if you want. For now, I'll just do default. You can customize this. You can get rid of this little logo here. You can put your logo up here, the client's logo, whatever you want. You can edit any of the language. Change this, font sizes, bold, etc., etc. If you want to customize it with your brand, your client's brand, you can just simply do that right here. All right, so I'm not going to actually go ahead and invite that because I'm already invited to the room. Now, users are in the room. They're moving around. They have opened up a bunch of documents. They may even have downloaded documents. As we said earlier, even if they've downloaded documents, if you're using our Smart Lock application, you can still have complete visibility into what they're doing in the room. Now, we literally have hundreds of different reports in here. Key takeaway is we can report on any click of the mouse, and we're going to work with you to help understand your process and what information is most important to you, and then we can help point you to where the best reports are. A couple of different ones I want to point out. Some of the more popular profile synopsis reports. So what this does is provide you a snapshot. So if you want to see profile synopsis by folder, what it does is it lays out my buyer groups here on the top and then lays out the index on the left, and I can see exactly where all the activity is. So I can see here that Acme Company has been pretty active in the basic corporate information, a lot of time in financial information, not so much everywhere else. So it provides a nice snapshot there, and you can do that over different time periods. One of the other more popular profile synopsis reports, you can do profile synopsis by security profile, so you can see all the different security profiles, or in your case, let's say the buyers, and just have some great information here. Number of people invited, how many times they've logged in, how much time they've been connected, what's their activity around documents, etc. So again, it gives you a great snapshot of where they're spending their time, what they're doing. If you want to get really detailed, you can go into document activity. So here's where I can slice and dice data in many different ways and get as granular as you want. If you want to see what individuals are doing, you can do that. If you want to know what a specific company is doing, you can do that. If you want to know what's been viewed, maybe I want to know what's been viewed and printed, printed, and saved, whatever it is. Any time period you want, by security profile. Again, you can slice and dice this data any way you want. And going back to what we were originally talking about at the very beginning, all of our data is actionable. So when you run a report and you spit out a piece of information here, let's say you see a lot of activity around this balance sheet, you can actually access that balance sheet directly from here and take any action on it. So if you see that there's been a lot of activity around it, you want to change the security, or maybe you want to send a customized message to someone, you can go create an instant alert, send it to your VP, associate, whoever. Hey, notice that there's a lot of activity around this particular document. We should anticipate due diligence questions. Again, allowing you to take action where the data resides, saving you time, making life more efficient for you. The other great feature we have, you can schedule all of these reports. So if there's 3 or 4 reports that you prefer and you run them on a weekly basis, let's say every Monday morning you have a meeting with your MD and he says, I want to know what's going on in the smart room. Well, instead of you having to log into the smart room, go build those reports and run them and print them out or download them, whatever you need to do, all you have to do is schedule them. Every Monday morning, 8 a.m., whatever time it is, those reports will get sent to your inbox. You pop them open, boom, your job is done. You didn't have to do a thing. Again, saving you time, creating better efficiency, speeding up the amount of time or speeding up your time in a smart room, just making your life as efficient as possible. All right, last thing in terms of the tool, searching. We have full search capability. So if you need to go search any information, let's see what we have here. We'll just look up balance sheet. So I can get as advanced as I want. So as you can see here, I have advanced settings. I can search by folder names, file names, the actual content within the actual document itself. I can even include certain file types. So if I only want to look by Excel or I only want to look by PDF or Word, if I want to exclude certain file types. Again, I can get as granular as I want with this and be as sharp as I need to when it comes to searching. The last thing I want to mention, I believe that I just showed you a platform that is going to significantly reduce the amount of time that you're spending in a room, increase the level of security. It's going to be reliable. The last thing I want to mention is that on top of all that, on top of the best platform that you're going to come across in the market, we are going to provide you with the absolute best service. We have a 24/7, 365 project management team with offices throughout the globe. All of those employees are in-house. They're our employees. We don't outsource any of that. Some of our other competitors in the space, some of the bigger ones that you probably are used to using, they outsource that. Which one, that's a security issue because they're outsourcing your security. And two, it just creates a poor service model. You're speaking to someone different every time. They're not familiar with your room. You have to explain everything 10 times. It's just not efficient. With us, you're talking to someone who is a smart room employee at all times, and they have a follow the sun model and a handoff model. That means that if you're based here, let's say in Chicago, and you're working with your Chicago project manager, and that Chicago project manager peels off for the day, they go, they're done at 8, they go to sleep, and it's 10 p.m., and you have questions. When you call us, first of all, someone's going to always answer the phone. There's no touch tone service. Secondly, that person is going to have spoken to your project manager earlier in the day, and they're going to know what's happening with your process. You're not going to have to spend 10 minutes filling them in on what's going on. They're already caught up to speed. On top of that 24/7, 365 project management support, we give you a dedicated project manager. That's your go-to person. So if you're working here in Chicago, let's say you're going to work with Michelle, or you're going to work with Zach or Irvin or Denise. If you're in New York, you're going to work with Christine or Lorianne. In London or the Europe market, Derek, Christian. We have these project managers on average. They have been with us for 5+ years. That means they are very familiar with best practices. They've been through this process. They live in this every single day. They are going to be your best friend throughout the life of the deal. They're there to provide training at the beginning, to answer any questions you have, to guide you, give you best practices. They're even there to do some of the work for you if you want. I always say, in banking, look at it like things flow downhill. And the analyst, you're at the bottom level. While using SmartRoom is the first time you're not going to be on the bottom level. You can push your information, or your requests to the project manager. You're running through the airport, you just got a couple emails saying, please invite these people, forward to the project management team, they'll do it. You get a request that you have to go reorganize the index in some way. You're busy with something else, or maybe frankly you just don't want to do it. Send it to the project management team, they'll do it for you. They are your go-to person. They're the analyst to your associate. They are your best friend throughout the life of the deal. And if you talk to SmartRoom clients, one of the first things they're going to say, in addition to this great platform here, is I know that I can speak to my project manager. When I call, they pick up the phone. When I email them, the response time is under 7 minutes, and they're extremely helpful. It's one of our hallmarks, one of our biggest competitive advantages against competition out there. So, in summary, again, absolute best platform in the market, which I believe I showed you here today, combined with the absolute best service. And what does that mean for you? That means actually speaking to what's important to you. I'm going to reduce the amount of time you're spending in a data room. I'm going to create better speed for you. It's going to be more secure. I can take security beyond the SmartRoom itself, even after people download documents. It's reliable. The product's going to work. The service is going to be there to help you answer any questions. It's going to be exactly what you want. For you, the manager, you have to use data rooms when you're running an M&A process. So as long as you're going to be doing that, and for those several weeks where you're going to spend possibly 30 to 50 hours in a data room, why not use the absolute best? Why not use one that's going to make your life easier, save you time? Not only that, but one that's trusted by some of the top brands in the world. Right? There's a reason that the Coca-Colas, the UPSs, the AIGs, the J&Js trust us and use us. They're not going to, those types of organizations run very rigorous evaluation processes, going through 100-page questionnaires for security, who you've worked with, referrals, references, everything, and they still choose us at the end of the day. And that says a lot about our product, our credibility, our experience, our service. So that being said, would love to work with you soon. Thank you for your time today.